Welcome to the Future of Customer Service podcast. I'm Andrea Paulton from Inbenta, and I will be interviewing customer support and service professionals to see what is currently working well, what issues they're trying to overcome, and the future success of customer service. Hello. Today we have the CEO and founder, Jordi Torres from Inbenta. Jordi, thank you so much for being here. You are on your own podcast. How are you?
That's right. Thank you, Andrea. And so happy to be here. And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so I thought we'd do a little bit different questions this time, because since you have been in AI for a very long time, you found your own company, there's going to be some questions that I have for you that are going to be a little bit different than I ask our customer service guests. So you ready?
I am. Let's go for it.
Okay, so how did you get started with artificial intelligence anyways? Where did it all begin?
Well, I started in college with learning with artificial intelligence as I'm a computational scientist by training from the University of Barcelona, and I got specialized in artificial intelligence, and that was in the 80s. Can you believe that? So it's been a long time. So things like neural networks or expert systems or genetic algorithms, that was the hot thing back then. And what I learned is essentially artificial intelligence is a set of software or hardware techniques that allow to do things that were not possible to be done before. This is what artificial intelligence is this area, this border where several tasks can only be done by humans and then computers can take over. So that's artificial intelligence, which means that it's dynamic, that is constantly growing. In the past, when I was studying, software was able to effectively and with good quality play chess was considered artificial intelligence. And now it's just an app in your iPhone and nobody thinks about that anymore. But that's exactly what happens. Artificial intelligence is once it works, nobody calls it artificial intelligence anymore.
Yeah. So when you were studying it in the 80s, did you guys foresee what it would be like today and how literally everybody uses AI without even knowing it?
Well, one of the areas of AI that I was studying is neural networks. And I remember working on that with the Microsoft personal computer with an 8086 with 8 bits and 640K bytes of information. It was very limited. And it was very promising, but it's totally abandoned. So I would have never said that such a boom would kind of come back nowadays with deep learning and machine learning and all this kind of rediscovery of the concept of neural networks. So it's pretty amazing. Other things like expert systems or genetic algorithms have been abandoned. Who knows? Maybe they'll come back when new techniques and new software and new technologies is discovered or developed.
Yeah. So you graduated. Where did you work? What was your first job?
Well, of course, after graduating, my preoccupation was to find a job. So I was working as consultant, software developer, software analyst for several consulting businesses. I was so blessed to be invited by my older brother back in the 90s already to start our own business. So we developed that business for several years. And we sold that business in 2004. It was a great project. My brother had enough and all that and said, well, you know what, I am retiring. I'm the youngest of 5 siblings. That's what I'm talking about, my oldest brother. So he said, okay, it's good. I am retiring. So, and then it was by myself, say, okay, we sold that business. Let's start something else. And that's how Inbenta started.
Where did the name come from? Inbenta.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, if you look at the verb in English, invent, to invent something, in Spanish would be inbenta. But in Spanish, B and V sound the same. So many Spaniards and many Spanish-speaking folks would make that mistake when typing the word. So it's actually a misspell. So the word inventa is a misspelled version of the idea of to invent or to create with your imagination. So that's how we started, with a misspell.
I never asked you this. It took me, what, 9 months of working with you to ask you this.
All
Okay.
right, you got it. And also back in time, the Inbenta.com domain was available. So that was another another reason.
Oh, I know. It's so hard to find that. So what made you start Inbenta? So did you see like a hole in the marketplace? Did you want to buy something and you couldn't, so you made it yourself? Where did this come from? Why did you do that?
Well, I started Inbenta to kind of put together creativity and talents into helping customers with one specific mission, which was finding information. And that's how we started. And in reality, when we started Inbenta, we were not a software company at all. We were a consulting business, and we were helping our customers with search engines and lexicons and taxonomies and synonyms and all these things, trying to make existing search engine technology be more intelligent. And that's what we realized a few years into the story of Inventa, when we were, as I said, basically a professional services and consulting business, is that is not possible. You cannot take an existing keyword-based search engine and make it intelligent. That is not possible. So we had a great team of specialists in search technologies. We had a fantastic team of computational linguists who knew very well about how to model language. And then we envision, hey, what if we create sort of a search engine, but that instead of using keywords, it uses meaning. So a way to search meaning. So we say, okay, we can build a software that essentially takes the user question, takes the content, computes the meaning, and try to matches that meaning, not the words, but the meaning of these words. That's how the idea of our search engine was created. And that's how we basically transitioned from being a consulting business and a professional services company into a software company, and more specifically as software as a service.
So fast forward to today, who are some of the clients? What kind of solutions does Inventa serve up to these clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started in. I'm originally from Barcelona, so as you might imagine, most of our the oldest customers that we have are in Spain. We extended in France, so we have a lot of presence in Europe with companies like Allianz or AXA or BBVA that are using our technology. We started working with Brazil, with Portuguese, because one of the things that we realized is actually our software is not subject to borders in terms of countries, but languages. Language is really the idea that makes us grow into different territories. And then I decided to come to US. I came here with my family to start business globally, and in the US. So now companies like Groupon or DocuSign or Pinterest, they're some of our customers, and they use our technologies to basically help their customers to locate answers more quickly. That's essentially what we do.
So let's talk about artificial intelligence a little bit. So you've been obviously studying it since the 80s. You've been working in it forever, really.
That's right.
What makes good AI and what makes bad AI?
So I believe that what really makes bad AI being bad is over promising and hype. And when you see these kind of things out there, and in some cases it's just, well, I guess journalism. So you need sensationalist news out there, kind of claiming fantastic achievements from AI. Well, I mean, I could understand that. But when you see in some cases companies with some claims that you say, man, it's not true. That's not really. This is not really happening. Um, then I believe that's kind of more dangerous. It is dangerous not because it might hurt anybody. It is dangerous because at the end of the day it creates a delusion, and then when real companies are starting to use that, they say, well, that's not the magic that we were promised. That creates frustration, and that frustration then creates what we call the AI winter. And by the way, you say that they've been working with AI forever. Well, we're basically in the 90s. There was, believe it or not, there was also a boom in AI. And after that, the what we call the AI winter arrived, which was a general dissatisfaction and a general impression that, well, AI would not work. And it hasn't been until recently that AI is gaining momentum again. But in reality, this AI winter took very much a decade to kind of be totally gone. And I believe that's the risk, is when you go into over promising on what the technology is able to do. That's a real risk, because you enter in a number of promises, sometimes fueled by the science fiction, uh, you know, books and movies and whatnot. So that's what kind of sometimes makes this industry a little bit frustrating. But on the other hand, when you see real progress and you say, okay, we know we don't have general AI. We know that general AI, Andrea, would be when you have an artificial intelligence that is as capable of do any task as a human would be able to do. That's the general AI. Well, that doesn't exist, period. Specific AI is when you have specific artificial intelligence systems that is able to do specific tasks kind of as good as a human would do that specific AI. And this is what the field what we are, and kind of the to see the general AI, we are not there yet.
Yeah. So you touched upon this. You were talking about some misconceptions about AI, like, that it can solve everything, and we know that it can't. We're not there yet, or we might never get there. What are some other misconceptions that people have about AI?
Well, I believe that maybe not in the last months, but maybe last year there was a lot of information circulating out there that AI could be dangerous to the humankind. And somebody said, some brilliant mind said, well, that's the biggest danger that humankind is facing. I believe these claims are preposterous, but by the reasons that I tell you. Assuming that an AI can actually come and become dangerous because the AI might want to survive, or might see humans as competitors, or these things that are, the story of thousands of science fiction movies, is far from reality. And I believe that misconception really comes from confusing intelligence with will. I mean, maybe you're intelligent, but existing or not, it doesn't really matter. And that's what AI. What if we have an AI that is able to think, but it has no particular desire to live or not live, or simply doesn't care? That's the kind of AI that we will build. Is a tool that will liberate humans from doing repetitive and boring tasks, and it will give us the freedom to use our fantastic human brain, do things that are really great, like art or music or inventions or science, or so many aspects where we humans are pretty good, and we can leave the most boring stuff to be done over and over again by AI. Because guess what? AI will not get bored, and it really doesn't care. It doesn't feel pain. It doesn't feel joy. It's just a machine. So maybe we'll have to get used to the idea of intelligence without conscience. intelligence without feelings. It's weird to think that way, but we're going to see that more and more.
I love all those sci-fi shows, like Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite ones, and it always is the
Here.
same thing.
Yeah, I
The
love it.
AI gets smart and has feelings and has will, and they destroy everything.
Correct, correct. I love horror movies, and I love these movies where there are ghosts and houses get haunted and all that. But I don't believe in it. I would never feel terrified by that because, I don't believe there are any ghosts. But still, I like the movies. So same thing here.
So let's talk about customer service and how AI helps customer service. A lot of our listeners are in the customer service space, either director, VP, that type of level, or they are customer service agents. How does AI help their lives and their departments out?
Absolutely.
Especially Inbenta's AI. I want to talk about the solutions that Inbenta has that helps customer service.
Abs- Absolutely. So w- very much during the 90s, we saw the proliferation of call center, or now what we call it, contact center. So sometimes it's a place physically crowded, sometimes with folks in it answering phone calls. That's kind of the idea when we think on a call center. And for many years, that was exactly what it was. And then what happens is every person working in this call center has a computer, has a phone, and gets calls. Now, every person uses that computer to do something with the system. They change the password, they assign a refund, they change your address. They do things. And in reality, if you think about it, the number of things that every call center agent is able to do is limited. You call a call center for a big company and you ask, sorry, what is the average speed of a cheetah? And they will say, well, I don't know, and I'm not here to answer these kind of questions. What they are able to do is essentially understand what a customer wants with their human brain and translate that question into something that the system can do, the system that they work on, because that's what they can do. There's nothing else that they can do for a customer that cannot be done with that terminal. So if you think about it, if you think in these terms, what is happening is the only thing that a call center agent is doing is transforming human language, which is questions and concerns and remarks from their customers, into digital actions that the system is allow them to do. So that's what they do. And our AI is saying, well, if that's exactly what they do, can a machine do that? In order to do that, well, it seems easy, but it's not, because everybody calling speaks English, Spanish, or whatever natural language that they do. And it's not easy at all for a computer to understand that. Computer can understand the commands and the menus and whatnot the call center agent is doing, but it's not understanding what the real question is. Our system is doing exactly that translation. Take user questions and transform those user questions into digital actions, or at least doing this for 80 or 90% of the incoming calls. So actual call center agents will be able to do more difficult tasks and tasks that require more value added and a human touch or a more complexity. So this is what we do for our customers. We essentially help them uh, find ways for their customers to find information and get effective very quickly online, with a phone, WhatsApp, text message, and any digital channel.
Yes, love that. That's a really good explanation. I love that. Tell me, Jordy, what do you think is going to be the future of AI? Like, where are we going with all this? And maybe let's talk first in the customer service space. What's the future there? And then let's go like into fantasy land. Like, where is AI going? Like in the future. But I'm going to talk about
Absolutely.
customer service folks first. Like, what are they going to be expecting? What's the future there?
Well, imagine, Andrea, that you call because you have to call center for a specific company. and immediately you get an answer. And you get an answer over the voice or a chat or on your phone and whatever you want. And immediately someone is answering your questions, is understanding what you say, and giving quick and effective answers and actions to what you want without any need to wait or any need to repeat or any need to be transferred to another agent. And or in fact, you get those answers in a way that is indistinguishable from what an actual human would do. If you would really don't know and not care, if you are talking or chatting with a machine or a person because your call was solved. Imagine that. This is the kind of future that we are building at Inbenta. We want to make this customer service through AI indistinguishable from human. So that's the service, and that's the future when it comes to customer service that we want to see.
Yeah,
As per
it'll make life easier for the customers, for customer service agents, for everybody. I love that.
exactly.
So let's talk about outside of customer service. Where do you think the future as a whole of AI is going?
Well, let's say this. Let's say, okay, the intelligence of a fly, let's put it that way. So the intelligence of a stone is 0. We agree on that, right?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. The intelligence of a human is 100. Let's put it that way. Okay. In this space from 0 to 100, well, if 0 is a stone, hey, computers are more intelligent. We are making progress. So we are like at 1 or 2. Then you start, analyzing other organisms like a fly, a mouse, a dog, a chimpanzee, a human. There are different numbers on that. We at this point are at 10 very much. That's exactly what we are. First, there's no general AI, as I said. They're only able to solve specific problems, and in reality, those problems are not that complicated for a human. And let's talk for a bit about customer service again. It is known that the industry of call center is plagued with there's a lot of employees that work in a call center temporarily. They want to work on something else. They don't plan to work in a call center forever because it is boring, and that's exactly the solution. So what is a boring job? A boring job is a job that does not require your full attention, your full intelligence, your full capacities. You only use for 8 or hours of work or 4 or whatever you work, just a smaller part of your brain. And then the rest has nothing to do. And that's when boredom shows up. And that's a kind of job that you don't want to have. So let's computers take that part and let's free humans from working on what they want. So that's kind of the future of AI that I see, is in which areas humans get bored, and let's remove them from our existence forever. That's what AI it comes into effect. If you look at how humans evolved over, maybe, I don't know, few hundred thousands of years, starting using animals to do our work, that was a great invention, because you know what, a horse or a cow, these guys would do, what they have 10 times our force. So let's use them. But then the industrial revolution arrived and say, well, now we can actually get better than these horses, and we can have one machine that is so much powerful that my horse. We still today call about horses to measure power of a machine, right? So still today. So we measure in horses. But now we have the capacity to create machines and software and technology that is able to do what we have to do with our brain. And this is where AI comes in, is still replacing things that we have to do over and over again and freeing us for doing other things. So I believe that AI will be the next industrial revolution. I don't know how that's going to be called, but but is when we'll be able to build systems that really do what we don't want to do because it's boring. And I believe that will multiply the capacity. Imagine all the brains in all the humans in the world being free to do whatever they want, to create, to experiment, to do arts or science. What that will happen is it will effectively accelerate the progress of the human race. And that's what I believe. The AI is not here to drag us down, is here to help us to progress even faster.
Oh, that's so beautiful. AI is not here to drag us down, but to progress even faster. We're going to end with that, Jordi, because that was
All
a
right.
really good soundbite. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Andrea. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning in. This podcast was brought to you by Inbenta. Inbenta Symbolic AI implements natural language processing that requires no training data with Inbenta's extensive lexicon and patented algorithms. Check out this robust customer interaction platform for your AI needs, from chatbots to search to knowledge centers and messenger platforms. Just go to our website to request a demo at inbenta.com. That's INBENTA.com. And if you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast and leave us a review. Thank you.